Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on the topic of what could be the importance of the empty houses in your natal chart. So like the way guys, the so-called Kal Sarp dosha or the yoga is formed only when all the planets are hemmed between Rahu and Ketu. So that means that one half of your natal chart is filled with the planetary presence and one half is void of any planetary presence. But over here I'm not talking about that planets have to be in the excess of Rahu or Ketu or they have to be in a certain combination. Here I'm just simply talking about that if you have a vacant house in your natal chart, what does it represent? Because guys, a lot many times this is a kind of a question which I keep on coming across, whether all those people who book their astrological personal consultation or even sometimes even while reading in the comment section as well. So today in this video we will have our discussion on that. So guys, to begin with, like the way your basics have to be very clear. Whenever you have to look at any combination with an intent of doing the assessment, so the basics is this thing that it all works down to, first of all, what? So planet in itself represents energy or vibration. Now definitely basis the nature of the planets, the vibration varies. So in short, if you have to describe what does the planetary vibration represent, it represents the what part. Second is when we talk about the zodiac sign just tells about how. So if planetary vibration you attached with the what, so zodiac sign represents how that planet is going to be manifesting results. So zodiac sign just act as a kind of a theme or kind of a act as a mold which tapers down the energies of the planet. After that, the most important thing is where, that we get to know from the house. So planet is what, zodiac sign is how, and important is when and where. So where is the house and when is the activated dashas and the transit which activates that planetary vibration. Now guys, comes the question that if the house is empty, then what does it represent? So guys, the way I look at a vacant house is that definitely there are like certain specific houses which if you will find to be vacant, that is not considered as good, which are the angular houses or the Kendra Bhava. Like if you have or if you come across any chart where the first house, fourth house, seventh house and 10th house is without the presence of any planet, that is not considered as good. Like irrespective of the fact that you might have good yogas in the trine house, you might have got good yoga in your like 11th house, but just because your angular houses are devoid of any planetary presence, it might still create concern. Because guys, like the way we know this thing that angular houses just represents the energy of the Lord Vishnu. They are called as the Vishnu Sthana, which helps you preserve, which protects you, which nourishes you. All the basic amenities of our life are somehow connected with the angular houses only. Like ascendant is your health, fourth house is your basic security, house you need to have a roof on your head, right? Seventh house is the partnership, 10th house is your action, your profession. So if you will find that there is no planetary presence in the angular houses, that is not a good sign. Now we will come back to our discussion that how can you differentiate between the vibration of a house where there is no planet and in a house where there is a planet. So guys, that's very simple. Just because planet represents energy or vibration, if a planet is placed in a specific house, that house is somehow resonating the energy of that planet. Guys, just before this video only, I uploaded a video where I talked about the contribution of the second house and the Hindu Lagna for the immense riches. Over there as well, I mentioned this thing that it hardly matters in which dignity the planet is placed in your second house, but just because the second house is the house of your finances, second house is the house of your financial income. So if a planet is placed over there, now that planet is bound to give you results connected to your finances based on its attributes. Now definitely if you will find the benefit planet which is very well placed, then this planet will kind of encourage you to make money through honest means, through some genuine legitimate means. But let's say for example, if we will find a very agitated malefic planet, like let's say for example for the Gemini Lagna natives, like Mars is not a very auspicious planet for you, and let's say for example Mars is kind of placed in your second house, it is debilitated, then definitely it is going to be encouraging you more for making money from dishonest means as well, unethical means as well. But just because a planet is placed over there, that planet will somehow contribute towards the signification of that house. Now guys, what happens is that if you will find a house to be completely empty, all what it represents that somehow that house is lacking the kind of thrust or that momentum which that house needs to generate. Guys, let's understand it in a very simple layman vernacular language. Let's say for example, if you want to visit a specialist, so you go to that office in order to see that specialist and get an answer for your problem. But if you go there and then the receptionist tells you that, oh, today sir is not over here, in order to see him you have to go to his other branch, there you might find him. So this is how you can relate a house which has a planetary presence or a house which is empty, just because that house does not have a planetary vibration, that energy over there. So for that house to generate the result right at that place, you might have to struggle. Now guys, let me simplify it with one more example. So like generally what happens is that in whichever house you will find to be a planet to be placed either in its sign of exaltation or planet is placed in its own house. Like for example, if you are a Aries Lagna and Mars is placed in the first house, you are a Capricorn Lagna and Saturn is placed right over there in your first house. So what does it tell about? It tells about that whenever life will put you in a situation where you are eyeing for some position, for some leadership role, or there are some health related concerns, so life will put you in a situation that either you will find the solution very easily or that opportunity connected with the attributes of that house will automatically come to you. Same is the case guys when we talk about, let's say for example, if you want to understand the prospects of the 7th house, which is the house of your partner, which is the house of your marriage. So if you will find that if you are a Libra Lagna native and if you will find that Mars is placed in the 7th house in its own house in the 7th. So what does it tell about? It simply tells about that for any of the undertaking of your relationship, any of the concerns of marriage or in general relationship or business partnership as well, somehow all those people who have touched your life, you were not looking for them. That house generated those people. That house generated that law of attraction that those people automatically came into your life. So that is how you can see. Same is the case guys with the 9th house, with the 10th house. So if you have a planetary presence in any house, somehow that house has got this power to give you the answers without running around too much, without sending you to different addresses. And once you will be searching for any of the important answers or results from that house will generate on its own. So that is one thing. Simply guys, it can be very simply understood. Like for example, for the same Libra Lagna, if you will find that Mars is not placed in the 7th house, but Mars is placed, let's say for example, in the 10th house, then you will find that for this specific Libra Lagna native, a lot of his relationship will take place only at the workplace. He might have found his partner, his spouse, where when they both were working in a project, or they both might be colleagues at the same job or same office where the love happened and they got married. Now second thing is that guys, over here definitely there are other attributes as well. Now just because this discussion is only about a vacant house and a house with a planetary presence, so definitely if the house lord has gone to 5 houses ahead of it, or it's placed in the angular houses, trine houses, it will definitely contribute or generate good results. But the concern is that you still have to go to some other place to find the result of that empty house. But if a house has got a planetary presence, it will generate results on its own over there, then and there only. Now guys, the only way this empty house can or its results can get influenced is definitely what is the kind of presence around the house. Now let's say for example, if we are talking about the matters of the 10th house, so let's say for example there is no planet placed in the 10th house, but a house before and after, you have got a Papkatri yoga, like you have two malefic, agitated, heated planets which are placed a house before and a house after. Now what does it tell about? It tells about that external circumstances might try to threaten you, and just because you do not have any planetary presence in the 10th house to fight it out, to battle it out, so you might get overwhelmed because of the external very kind of overwhelming circumstances. You might have to deal with very angry people, agitated people, all the time people gossiping around you, people keeping an eye at you, and that is how you might have to work in a very insecure environment. Now let's say for example, if you have a Shubhkatri yoga, that you have a 10th house which is vacant, but there are two very benefic planets which are placed right a house before and after. So let's say for example, you are a Scorpio Lagna, and in the 10th house you do not have any planetary presence over there, but just a house before you have Jupiter being placed over there, and just a house after your 10th house you have Mercury being exalted over there. Then you will definitely find that somehow there are people who are saying good things behind your back. There are people who are always ready to support you even without you knowing about it, and there is a lot of good words surrounding around your work. So that is how you can relate. And definitely guys, even if a planet is aspecting that empty house, so somehow external circumstances will have a say. They will still try to mold the signification of that house, but just because that house is vacant. So when you will be searching for the answers of that house, you might have to still go around places, you might have to make some phone calls, you might have to put efforts, but that house in itself will not be able to generate results. So yes guys, that was just a basic overview of my understanding on the vacant houses and the house with the planetary presence. So a lot many times people complain, oh my god, in my ascendant there is a planetary war, oh my god, in my 7th house there is a lot of the heated energy of the malefic planetary presence. But trust me, whatever it is still better than having a vacant house. So yes guys, for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.